Well, thanks for joining us, Chris and Vikki, in our first Sydney EdTech interview. So why don't we start just telling us a little bit about yourselves? Maybe start with Vikki.
Okay. So I'm the co-founder of Zookal and also the CEO. My background is in international business and sustainable investments, and I've been doing businesses since I was about 12.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you, Chris?
So I'm the co-founder CTO here at Zookal, and I did a degree of business and IT at UTS. Had my little business there, making influences for other people, and then I worked at Suncorp
Yeah.
as a graduate there, working with yourself in innovation and such, mostly as a Java programmer, and then I heard about Zookal when they were just starting it off, and then I kind of put my hand up, and here I am.
Cool. And you've got like another founder as well, which is Ahmed,
Yeah.
part of Zookal.
And John as well. So it's four of us.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. And what do they do? What's their
So
role?
John's the CFO, so he makes sure that we're all on budget and we are towards our milestones and space.
Yep.
And Ahmed's the CEO, so he sets the direction of the business.
Okay. And how did the company start? Because I think you joined a bit later, is that right?
That's right.
So was it something that Ahmed and yourself put together and thought about and started?
There was some Ahmed's really came up with the idea, but yeah, we started a while ago, and he was working with one in the US, and for the model going really well
Yeah.
there as well. This is after we came up with the idea, and yeah, here we are.
Okay, great. And then to tell me a little bit about Zookal, like what do you do? It seems like you do a lot of things, which is
Yeah.
from like renting textbooks, uh, student internships, and flying drones.
Okay, so drones for us was really a logistical solution to a problem that we think is faced by a lot of e-commerce companies. That's how drones kind of came about. And what we do specifically, Zookal is an education portal. So we're a platform to help support students through the university degree, and whether that be through renting textbooks to them and getting course materials cheaper, or offering digital solutions and internship placements. Our mission is to make students actually use our schools.
Okay, so what's I guess the core vision of Zookal, like the main thing that you do?
Make students actually use them.
Okay, so through a range of services, whether it's internships or book rentals.
Textbooks
Okay,
or digital solutions.
cool. And so I know that you've raised some money recently as well. So can you tell us a little bit about that and how it came about?
Um, it's kind of corny, but it was through hustle, pretty much.
Okay.
Cold calling, cold emailing, waiting outside offices, reaching through our networks, getting on a plane, flying to Silicon Valley, whatever we had to do. That's pretty much how we
Okay.
raised, yeah.
Cool. And I guess what were the challenges in raising money? Because I've read some stuff in the BRW and AFR about the hustle and trying to raise money here and you're struggling and then you have to go overseas. So,
Um, there's definitely a Series A crunch in Australia that we found, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs sort of felt that. So for us, we really did have to look externally for our funding. In terms of challenges, I would say keeping your eye on the prize and not being knocked down by the no's that you get.
yep.
Um, it's really about being diligent and never ever say no to a meeting, no matter who it
Okay.
is. Like we were meeting with laundromats who had a brother who was in finance who knew someone. So
Yeah. So
you
that
never know.
connection, friend of a friend of a friend.
Yeah.
Cool. So one of the questions that we have is like, how did Zookal initially get traction? How did you initially get momentum? That's one of the hardest things to do when you're a startup.
We've been talking a bit.
From the very first day, people really liked the idea. No one else was doing it in Australia. And the very first day we got sales, people were renting from us. But, just from the start, first we told our friends and such, and it's just spread word. And when we launched in February, people just using our service. I mean, this is a service everyone needs textbooks, and because of that, it's a necessity. And people, they just need the textbooks. It doesn't matter how much it costs. Usually, people only need it for one semester. They don't need it for the entire lifetime for most books. So people thought it was a great idea, and it was a good idea. And we, even from the start, we were able to put in enough money that we can buy this certain amount of books. Starting at UTS, that we're able to supply these people with those books.
Yeah, I had the same problem when I was at uni. You had your textbook for like one semester and you have to go resell it. And you have to sell it at like a discount as well.
And that's right. But usually there was only a second-hand book market and the new book market. But renting, similar to how Blockbuster works, just people just really like it. It works.
I suppose like a lot of people today would call it growth hacking. Back then we just called it hard work. We would actually, you didn't have the resources that most startups face. Like
Yeah.
You don't have thousands of dollars just go and spend on delivery. So we would deliver the books ourselves.
Yeah.
We would go and collect the parcels. We would be packing boxes, doing whatever it took to sort of get that traction.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's the sort of the speed hump that most sites would face. And once
Yeah.
you get over that, it's a little bit easier.
Okay. And how did you market the services to students? How did you get the word out there?
We were focused on grassroots, so really guerrilla style marketing. We wanted to. A lot of companies, they try to do like top down approach, where they go to the lecturers and the universities and sort of try to drive their product that way. Whereas we wanted to grow, because we were helping students, so from the ground up. So we did a lot of like street teams, we did a lot of social media marketing.
Okay.
Anything to sort of get the word out there.
Cool. And I think like since you and also Ahmed, maybe Chris as well, you had a lot of background in like student organizations and student marketing as well.
That's right.
You had like the perfect background.
Ahmed started the ACES Entrepreneurial Society at UTS, which is about fostering entrepreneurship in students, and I started the Student Success Initiative, which is about helping students reach their professional and personal goals. And Chris was a part of a lot of our social societies and universities.
I just go to a lot of entrepreneur events. All the universities, New South Wales, the UTS, and the Uni, they always have a lot of entrepreneur societies. And I used to go to a lot of them at the start. So I met the other guys as well. And especially if you're looking for co-founders, that's a wonderful place to go.
Okay, cool. I guess the other question that we have is like, if you look at the writing on the wall, like, looks like textbook usage is sort of declining. Like people are moving towards like ebooks, interactive iPad apps, and using the web. Is that going to affect your business as well, given that there's a lot of, I guess, textbook rentals?
Absolutely. But we're not defensive about textbooks at all. This year was the first year that ebooks actually outsold print books, and we're aware of that, and that's why we didn't call ourselves, Cheap Textbooks Australia. We chose Zookal, which was a generic brand, because we saw ourselves in education platform. It doesn't matter how students learn, print books or ebooks. We want to be there as a support service.
Funny thing is, before we come up with Zookal, we were going to class as monkey books. It's too long.
Does Zookal mean something, or is it?
It's actually a mix of book and rental, and we also like Azure really likes monkeys and like kind of animal things. So
don't be
zoo.
too serious.
That's like the fun kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like a mix of book rental, with like zoo added in, so Zookal.
Okay.
Plus, it's 6 letters, the same as Google. We thought it would
be
immediate trust cycle.
Like Google,
we didn't intend
Twitter,
it to sound too similar to Google, but yeah.
Cool. And then what about the monkey icon as well? Like when I look at it, it's kind of like the MailChimp, like they've got that little fun like character as well. Like use that in your marketing too.
We call him. His name's Manny, and he always has some messages for our students, on our pages, our email.
Okay, to bring a bit of personality like to the brand.
To the brand. Students are really smart. They're coming from a generation where they know what's going on. So we didn't want to be fake. We wanted to sort of gain their trust. And through an icon, I suppose it's a funny way to do it, but to have that connection with them in any way we can.
Okay.
The customers really like the market.
They love it.
Find it very cute.
It's recognizable as well, especially when I walk past here every day. I see the big monkey on the wall. So, I want to ask you a bit more about like education. So, another big trend at the moment is like blended learning. So people, learning at home and then going to school to do like homework. So, like, what are your thoughts on that?
Blended learning for us is a very exciting opportunity. Like I mentioned before, we see this as an education model, it's a platform. So, for us, students are learning, the way they're learning is changing. They are consuming content online, in the classroom. Either way, we want to be that support service. So it doesn't matter what the medium is. Our mission is to make students.
And I guess you're really close to students and schools. Like, what do you see as like the trends now in education? Like, what's coming in the next few years?
For the next few years, we see some teachers are trying to, and even other startups are going to more adaptive learning. Each individual student learns in different ways. Some people more through photo memory, some like to read, some like to listen. Some more ways to adapt learning to have people individually learn, and the pace as well. Usually schools, they all teach at the same pace, but different people learn faster, other people learn slower. And the system at the moment, like Australia and globally, doesn't really adapt to that. But then people work on really smart things like using business intelligence and adaptive learning, a lot of other new technologies allowing people and algorithms as well to come up with ways to adapt to that. And even from a technology point of view, there's a lot of advancements in new areas. At the moment, we've got tablets and such and smartphones, but there are things like smartwatches, augmented reality glasses from Google Glass, virtual reality, and all these other new technologies are starting to become actually affordable by consumers and advanced enough that you can actually use them for different things, like in education.
Yeah.
So people in the future will be able to go into a classroom with augmented reality glasses. As the teacher talks, they can see a transcript on the screen.
Yeah.
Those kind of things. With virtual reality, people are able to actually work from home, or kids in Africa are able to talk to a lecturer who's in Stanford University, and if they're doing a science experiment, say chemistry, they can actually mix chemicals and actually get more practical
That's really
experience
cool.
from that.
Yeah, let's just say we definitely don't just talk about textbooks here.
Because you've got that other startup as well, which is Smart Sparrow, which is in the area of adaptive learning. So it's been drawn. It's coming at the UNSW here.
Yes.
And then you're also seeing like the rise of like MOOCs as well, massive online learning. So yeah, I think they just got a recent round of funding as well, and a few other ones.
Yes, they're doing quite well.
Yeah.
And we've got open learning as well.
Yeah.
In Sydney. But it might be a good chance to ask you about. I know that you're doing some academic project, kind of like around like mind control or something, or like some kind of.
I've had like more of a hobby. Last few years, got a bit of interest in virtual reality, and now lately in also neuroscience as well. And just looking at ways you can just converge those technologies together. So for the thing with online courses is that they're very theoretical based, which is good. Like most learning is theoretical based, like answering quizzes, mathematics and such, learning English. But things like virtual reality as it gets more advanced, online usually you can't really put a plane together or build a rocket, things like that. And a lot of people like to learn from a practical point of view. Even for programming, there's Code Academy, which is quite a good tool, but there's other areas where no one has done the practical part. So these kind of things you can actually do more practical based learning from different areas, like I just talked before. Able to just connect into one area like a virtual kind of classroom and then learn with each other. Neuroscience is interesting because that's where it's getting more and more advanced. At the moment, technology is not quite there yet, but there are more non-intrusive ways to read brain waves. It's becoming more and more commercially available. There's a Motive Insight raised $1.2 million just recently, trying to bring that to the mass market. So those kind of tools goes back to adaptive learning. Such a device, you can read people's frustration levels, their emotional states, their boredom level, and then you can adjust learning based on what you're reading from them directly. Like the student themselves might not know, but say for example, if you're doing a course on programming and you start to get frustrated, you can just the website will know immediately that they're getting frustrated and just start prompting for help straight after that. Like sometimes have video games if you keep dying. Someone will appear and start helping you out like Nintendo games.
I think because I know a little bit about games. What they try to do is what's personalized experience. So even like particularly mobile games, they want to have a different experience based on your behavior in the game. It sounds like we should do the same for education, based on people's different learning attributes and experiences.
So here, almost maybe Candy Crush gets a bit easier. If you get stuck on a level too much, it starts getting easier and easier for the person. If people are really good, the later levels are still quite difficult. So you just kind of adjust the difficulty level based on the person. Works really well for gaming. And people starting to do that in education, but there's still a lot of opportunity out there to just make that even better.
Cool. I might switch gears and ask you about, I guess, what your plans are for 2014. Okay. I know some of them include expanding to Asia as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
To sum up in a nutshell, growth. All about acceleration and expansion next year. In terms of Asia, very exciting for us because it's our stepping stone into international space. We're starting out in Malaysia and Singapore as a first stop, but we've got our eyes set on the bigger markets like Indonesia, Thailand, stuff like that. Particularly because Asia for us, great platform to launch our digital products as well as our international student service line. With mobile penetration domain know it's over 100%. So we've got people out there with no desktop computers, but they've got 2 or 3 devices in their pocket. So that's something that you don't get here.
I think there's a lot of pent-up demand over there for internet. There's a lot of people there still not connected as well.
Well, not by desktop, that's true, but with mobile devices, that's really getting there.
A lot of them still using BlackBerry.
That's really big.
But even that's starting to die down as well. People starting to actually be able to afford iPhones and Android phones as well. And Australia, I would say America is in a good location geographically to expand to Asia Pacific and then to Asia as well. So we're in a good location.
Europe was always really exciting for us too. And for us, if Asia goes well, it will probably be the
Yeah.
next.
So your main focus, I guess, next couple of years is Asia.
Asia will be, yes. So
Yeah.
Southeast Asia first.
And so I read that you guys are opening up an office in Singapore. Is that right?
In Malaysia, yes.
Okay, cool. And so will people be based over there, or are you moving offices, or like it's
Oh,
a
we'll still be
branch?
based in Sydney, yeah. So we will have people like out there.
You know, we've got deciding if we're gonna hire people here
Yeah.
or over there, like for example, developer point of view.
Okay.
So we're still looking into
So
that.
you're hiring in Asia? Will be.
Maybe we'll see.
Cool.
Eventually.
I guess my other question is like, how do you know what to do like when you go there? And it's a different market. What are your first steps like when you go to Asia?
Asia is very different to any other. We sort of went in really naive. We're like, yeah, we'll just do what we did. We'll go in
Yeah.
there and just take over the world. It's not like that at all. It's really about who you know. And for us, the most important thing is getting the right people on us.
Yeah.
There's a great book, Good to Great, by Collins, who really mentions not just getting the right people on the right bus, but actually the right seats as well. So that's something we really focused on with our Asia expansion.
Yeah. The next couple of years, like, what are the two biggest challenges that you think you're going to face? Is it going to be capital? Is it people? Is it expanding? New services?
The biggest challenge we have faced and I think we'll always face is catering to demand and making sure that we build the infrastructure to grow. So that's not just high level. It's right down micro into the way everyone thinks of the company, into culture, into making sure that we're building the company so that we're expecting tens of millions of people to come and visit our website. We're expecting that we want at all times that there's a possibility that our service will break, that everything will break, and so we have to make sure we have a plan A, B, C, Z to cater to that. That's probably the biggest challenge. Chris?
That apply. You just mentioned technology.
Yeah, sorry.
Like Chris, you solve them. You take care of the tech.
And then I have to make that happen.
Yeah.
From technology point of view.
Yeah.
Logistics
But
as well.
there's little things that needs to be done. But I'm also make sure we hire the right people, because if you have the right people,
Yeah.
you get all that stuff done much faster. And then even with research, we hire people who can understand like which books
Yeah.
we need to get, and technology, how do we scale our systems, especially because we're a startup, we can't afford to hire army developers.
Yeah.
For example, an army of warehouse people. So we need to act smart, like try to find a few people who are
Yeah.
very efficient, so we can get all that stuff done, so we can meet demand and that we can scale our services.
Yeah. And do you think like mobile is going to be a big thing for you as well? Because I noticed that you've launched a couple of apps in the App Store. I think it was on Google Play as well.
Our HEC app.
Yeah. How are they going, and like, how does that fit in your strategy?
So, like I said, we have like a couple of different service lines, and digital was for us. It's going to be our gateway to Asia. So the HSC app is a bit like with your exams, you have entrance exams, and you have all these past papers. So we've aggregated all of that into an easy-to-use app.
Yeah.
So it means that students doing the HSC on the go can just while they're on the bus or when they're going to the classroom, they can do practice questions.
Cool. I guess the other question I have is, edtech scene is like kind of starting up in Australia. What have you seen that you've liked, and what would you like to see? Yeah.
What have I seen that I liked? EdTech in Australia, I love that we like the underdogs. There's not many of us, but I can see sort of people are banding together, even with what you're doing. People are starting to work together. I think that's really important to sort of moving the space forward. What I'd love to see is, like one day for, not just in Australia, but for education to be accessible to everyone. So someone in Africa should be able to have the same access as someone studying at Harvard University.
Yep.
And I'd love to provide that platform where we pay some part in having that process come about.
Yeah, I'd like to see more success stories as well in Australia. I mean, we've got really smart people in Australia. We've got good universities here. We don't have as much access to capital, which means it's harder to grow businesses faster. But it's still possible, like especially now these days, everything's online. We can provide these education services, the startups in Australia.
So, like, why do you think you've succeeded in this area when I guess there's been other people in this space as well that haven't? What's been a differentiator?
Just lucky again.
Because one thing that you mentioned was just hustle, like as well. Like.
Yeah. I think that probably, like, if you speak to anyone, like we've gotten a lot of help from a lot of people, and all the entrepreneurs who have been successful, they've always said the same thing. They just never gave up. They were, their conviction was just so strong that it was going to work no matter what. And I think that is a differentiator between a lot of companies.
Yeah. And another question I have for you is like you've got an advisor from is it Chegg?
Yes.
Is that right? Like how did that happen and how has that helped you as well?
Oh, that was a feat. So we pretty much convinced a billion-dollar competitor to come on board as advisors and investors in our company. So we just off the plane got there and met them, and they love the team, they love the vision. What it's done for us is given us access to knowledge. So we can speak to their past people, they know about their logistics and what to do and what not to do. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, which is a luxury that not all startups have.
Yeah.
So I suppose that's what's helped us.
And so it's just kind of tricky, I guess, if you're a startup and you're talking to a competitor overseas, like what made them join and why did you seek them out?
They were the best at what they were doing. They're still focused on the US market. They haven't, nearly captured, the entire market yet, and there's still a lot of groundwork to go there. If they do move into Asia, they'll be looking at, I think, China, India, but Southeast Asia is something that's untapped, and for us, that's sort of where we stand.
Yeah. Are they also an investor or just an advisor?
Yeah, there's investors and shareholders.
Okay.
So advisors and shareholders.
Okay. Because I heard some article like that you'd ask them for investment and then they said, well, what if we gave you like is it $10 million or $1 million and what would you do with it? And you're kind of blown away by the amount of investment they wanted to offer. Is that true?
Yeah, it's just always like that. It's like with a lot of businesses as well. It's always surreal.
Yeah.
It's always like, oh, okay, so we're from like nothing in the bank, now we have like a couple of zeros there. Okay.
That was quite a while ago, so that we didn't know how to spend that much money. But
Yeah.
now we know. So anyone who's going to give us $10 million, please do it.
Yeah, we're okay.
We know how to do it.
So I've got a question from Atul actually on that point. Like, if you had all the resources in the world, like, what would you do?
Like, because we love education, this is a North Korean. If you look at it maybe 50 years in the future, how will education be like? If you've seen movies like The Matrix, the training teacher just learns how to fly a helicopter by just downloading, the knowledge into her mind, and then within 6 seconds she can pilot it. So I mean, that's probably more way open into the future, but I'd like to put more into R&D to see how we can accelerate learning, how we can use all these new progresses in technology, or even pioneer this technology in neuroscience, VR, business intelligence, all those things, how to make people make it easy for anyone around the world to learn. Making this accessible to around the world, as internet becomes more available in Africa and other more countries, using technology to help them learn. And there's not enough teachers around the world. How else can we help them learn how to learn it with education? Then there's a lot of interesting technologies people. I don't know. It's a hard question, but
That's a hard question.
Yeah.
That is a hard question, but we like to put a lot of thought into R&D and see how else we can help, and then try to see how we can actually disrupt innovation, disrupt education.
Yeah.
Just making it more, really just making it affordable and accessible for as many people as possible. That's sort of our grand vision.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was trying to do with native tongue as well. I wanted anyone to be able to learn a language. It could be like a kid on a bus in Africa or someone in Korea as well.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool when you see downloads or people using it in those countries.
Like in different
as well.
countries.
Yeah,
that's always the best.
The other question I have is like what advice would you have for other edtech startups in Australia? Like any parting words for them?
For me, when I was in the States, I sat down with Sarah Lacey, the founder of Panda David, and she gave me some really good advice. She said, doing a startup is kind of like having a really dirty room, with all this stuff turned over, and no one expects you to clean everything, right? Your job is to make sure to have a mop and to know exactly where to clean and when to clean it, and that's what you got to do. So my advice would be to prioritize, make sure you're doing the most important thing, and always think, what is the most critical use of my time right now? And put all your efforts on that. Close your back doors and just focus.
Also, what else is that? From entrepreneurs that I've met that have been the most successful and the others have given up, you have to persevere, actually stick to it. You just say you'll do it and you just give up at some point in time. So eventually, even for us, things look bleak, but if you just keep pushing ahead, and you actually stick to it, in the end, you may actually, pass those low points, and then actually, be in a much better position. Also, for a startup, because you have so limited resources, like at the start, meet the right co-founders, meet the right business partners, and afterwards hire the right people. Like we know, we had a few hires that didn't work so well at the start. So our idea was more if they're not working out, especially when we're startup, if they're limited, you just have to let them go.
Yeah.
And keep searching again. Like don't stick with people, especially at the start.
Yeah.
We'll just try to find someone else, and then eventually we'll find the right people. Like find the A players, find the really good
Yeah,
guys,
yeah.
and then also we try to have a good culture, like take care of them. And,
Yeah.
with you hire really good people, and then other good people come on board because they want to learn from them, but they want to learn from those people as well. So just want to like get the right talents.
Just on hiring as well, like just don't compromise.
Yeah.
Don't compromise people. Like if get the best from the get go because they'll train. Like if you have A, they'll hire Bs. If you hire Bs, they'll hire Cs.
Yeah.
So make sure you get those triple A's when you first start.
Yeah, because I think it affects everyone else as well.
Yeah.
And also definitely focus. Like even if you have one idea, start at a niche. Like so many people start with a brand idea. Like after so I have an amazing $1 billion idea that I just want to provide to everyone. But even Facebook started at universities first. We started at just UTS, and then we expanded to other universities and into states and then overseas as well. We started one idea. We just tried to make rental work very, very well first before we got into other service lines. Otherwise, if you're going to do 2 or 3 different things at the same time, you do them half-assed, especially if there's other startups that actually do that one thing, renting. Much, they just focus on that. They'll, in the end, they more high chance that they'll beat you.
Yeah.
Just like focus on the right thing and then try to find a niche where you can start off first.
Yeah. And like Zookal seems like a pretty cool place to work at. Like, what have you done to sort of build that culture and again, it's also I guess getting the right people as well. Like.
In terms of culture, well, we have a hammock. So
I've seen that.
It gets used every day. We try to make sure we're pretty flexible with hours. That we understand that, especially with developers, they might be working late at night and might have to come in late in the mornings. We make sure that we like for us with management staff, we're very laissez-faire. So I don't believe like anyone in the company is higher than the other. Like the CEO's opinion is just as equal to our receptionist because she deals with our customers. So for us, we have no platform with our meetings. No one is more important, and we make sure that if you're the only way that you'll be a manager is if you have 3 people who actually come to you for advice.
That's cool.
If people haven't experienced Silicon Valley culture, we every single year we've flown there, and we've actually gone to other startups, looked around, and you can see like compared to a lot of Australian companies, we see more corporate and mid-sized companies. Culture is so much different there, and you don't understand, and you can read a lot about it, but if you actually experience it for yourself, you understand how the culture is there, and we try to bring that Silicon Valley culture into Australia. And then people seem to really like that culture in the US. A lot of smart people like to work in those kind of environments.
Maybe one day we'll work towards free food. One day.
I'm a chef.
Chef. One day.
Yeah. So I guess my final question. I want to know more about these quadcopters, like the flirty. Tell me about that. Because everyone's dying to hear about them.
Yeah, I knew that one was coming.
In the drones.
So like I said, drones for us was a solution to a logistical problem that we had. And it's something that was global that all e-commerce companies face. That company is like, for us, Flirty is now a separate entity which that we've got a CEO managing now. It's doing really well. It's just like, doing okay. And for us, I can't say too much, unfortunately, but what I can say is that there's some exciting announcements that are coming in 2014, so keep your eyes peeled.
Okay, cool. All right, we'll leave it at that. Thanks for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.